My name's Morgan Blake. I used to be a senior project director at Lydian Systems, one of those Fortune 500 tech monsters people love to hate but still send their resumes to. I'd worked there for 7 years. I gave them everything. My time, my sleep, my marriage, hell, even my 20s. And one random Thursday morning in June, I was fired. No warning, no write-up, no, let's talk about your performance. Just a cold, rehearsed sentence from my boss, Ryan Keller. We've decided to go in a different direction. Your position is being eliminated effective immediately. He didn't look me in the eye. I remember that part so clearly. He just handed me a manila envelope and stared at his screen like he was too busy for the woman whose weekends he'd devoured for the last 3 fiscal years. I sat there frozen. Couldn't even process it. I wasn't underperforming. I'd just closed a multi-million-dollar federal contract. I was up for a promotion. This made no sense. I don't understand, I said quietly. I've never even had a bad review. Ryan sighed like I was making his day harder than it needed to be. This isn't about your performance, Morgan. That was the sentence that kept replaying in my head that night as I packed up my office. This isn't about your performance. Then what the hell was it about? The next week was a fog. HR had me sign an NDA, and they even threw in an exit bonus to make the blow feel soft. It wasn't. They just wanted me gone, quiet and fast. I would have let it go. I really would have. If not for one thing. 4 days later, while I was still mourning the loss of my career and pride, I got a text from Kara, a junior analyst who used to report to me. Hey, are you okay? I just overheard something weird about your replacement. I didn't respond right away. My pride wouldn't let me. But curiosity eats pride alive when it's hungry enough. I called her. Kara told me, nervously, that they'd already filled my position, with someone internal. A guy named Brett Kessler. Now Brett was incompetent. He was an MBA hire from the CEO's alma mater. Couldn't lead a project if his life depended on it. But he was young, loud, and apparently very good at golf. So, of course, he made strategic sense. And here's where it gets messed up. Kara said she'd overheard Brett in the break room joking with someone that Morgan was too thorough for her own good, and that Ryan didn't want her poking around the wrong spreadsheets. Wrong spreadsheets? That's when my brain clicked into gear. See, 2 weeks before I got fired, I'd flagged some irregular billing reports. A vendor, Trident Analytics, had been paid for work they never delivered. I was prepping an internal audit request, I even brought it up to Ryan. He brushed it off, said Trident was one of our trusted vendors, and told me to focus on the bigger picture. I let it go. Temporarily. Now I wish I'd dug deeper. That night, I cracked open my old work laptop, which I hadn't returned yet, and started going through my files. My access to internal systems was revoked, but I'd saved a local copy of the billing logs. One in particular stood out. Invoice number 9834. Trident Analytics, $213,000. Security consulting. No hours logged. There were 4 of these, almost $800K over 6 months. No documentation, no project logs, just generic line items. And guess who approved all of them? Ryan Keller. Suddenly the pieces started to fit. I got too close, started asking the wrong questions, and rather than address it, they axed me. I wish I could say I was afraid, or smart enough to walk away. But I wasn't either of those things. I was pissed. So I started digging. I reached out to Jamie, a friend in compliance who still owed me a favor. I played it casual, asked if she'd heard anything odd about vendor payments lately. She hesitated for a beat too long before saying no. Then she added, "You didn't hear this from me, but something's going down with Trident. Internal audit's been asking around. That confirmed it. There was a cover-up, and I had the breadcrumbs, but that's not even the craziest part. The next morning, I got a FedEx envelope. No return address. Inside, a USB drive and a note. All it said was, "They're watching you, but they missed this." I plugged the drive into a junk laptop. It contained a folder labeled LIDSys recordings. Dozens of audio files. Most were normal-sounding meetings, but one was not. It was a recording from a private call between Ryan and someone named Trident. The conversation was short, but what I heard made my blood run cold. "Ryan, she's too close. We'll call it a restructure." Trident: "You've been well compensated, Ryan. Handle it." That's when I knew. This wasn't just corporate politics. It was corruption, and I wasn't about to let it slide. Not after what they did to me. Not when I had nothing left to lose. I didn't sleep that night. Not even a minute. I kept replaying that audio clip on loop. Ryan's voice. Cold and mechanical. Handing my career over like it was a failed product launch. And whoever the hell Trident was, that man spoke like he owned him. The USB drive was real. The invoices were real. And now I had proof. But what do you do when the people in power are the same ones who sign the checks, delete the files, and rewrite the story? You outsmart them. So I made a list. Not some dramatic revenge wall, just names, connections, weaknesses. Ryan Keller, VP of Operations, married, father of 2, back 9 golfer, monthly donations to a foundation that doesn't seem to actually exist. Brett Kessler, my replacement, mediocre but well-connected. He once drunkenly told me at a company happy hour that he failed upward because he knew how to keep secrets. Trident Analytics. Their website was sleek, their address vague, and their team page suspiciously filled with stock photos. I checked the domain registry. It was masked. Classic. Who funds a fake vendor through real invoices? Someone laundering money. So, I did what any recently unemployed woman with a chip on her shoulder and a background in data systems would do. I hacked my way in. No, I'm not some movie-level genius. But I knew the back doors. Lydian used to outsource their data backups to an old AWS instance I helped set up 3 years ago. And guess who still had the login credentials stored in an encrypted vault? Me. Once I got in, I went hunting. Project folders, vendor memos, PDF scans. And then, bingo, Trident Consulting. Overview, PDF file was short, but damning. 3 pages of nothing, except a client list. One of them was redacted. But the file name? That told me more than they intended. Client on files, TARS internal Trident on docs LYDRKX 2023 ops audit, exempt.pdfrk. Ryan Keller. He had his own folder. I downloaded everything, made 3 backups, stored one in a cloud drive, one on a flash drive duct-taped to the underside of my sink, and one, well, I mailed that one to someone who owed me big. Her name's Natalia West. We went to college together. Now she's an investigative producer at a semi-obscure news podcast that just got picked up by a national network. I texted her, "You want exclusive access to something ugly?" She replied in under 5 seconds. When and where? We met in a public park. I handed her the flash drive like we were in a spy movie. She asked questions. I didn't answer. Not yet. I needed her curious, not cautious. Meanwhile, I called in another favor. This one was riskier. His name's Caleb. We dated for 2 years before I broke it off because he didn't believe in Google Calendar. But he's a digital forensics guy now, and when I told him I needed help tracing some corporate shell accounts, he gave me that look, the one that says, "This is either illegal or personal." "Both," I said. He smirked. "Then let's get started." Within a day, we found 4 wire transfers from Lydian systems to offshore banks. Cayman Islands, Belize, Malta. All in round numbers. All routed through Trident. Each one matched the timeline of the fake invoices. But here's the kicker. One of the receiving accounts wasn't just some anonymous number. It belonged to Ryan Keller's wife, under her maiden name, $1.2 million. Was shaking. This wasn't just about silencing me. This was embezzlement, fraud, RICO-level corruption. The kind that sinks companies and puts people in federal prison. But they weren't panicking. Yet. I needed to turn up the heat. So I sent an anonymous tip to the board of directors. Just a teaser. One invoice. One wire transfer. No names. Just a question. Who's auditing Trident Analytics? The email bounced around their internal system for a day. Then, boom. 2 directors stepped down. One issued a public statement about health reasons. A press leak surfaced that Lydian was undergoing routine vendor reviews. The buzz was beginning. Ryan, though? He held steady, smug as ever. I knew his type. He thought he could squash this, until someone sent him an envelope. Inside, a printout of that transcript, his voice, talking to L. Trident. I didn't send it. Natalia did. She was already prepping her segment, and she wanted Ryan sweating. That's when things got scary. Apartment was broken into. Nothing stolen. Just my desk rifled through. My bathroom mirror cracked. A warning. 2 hours later, I got a call from a blocked number. A voice I didn't recognize said, "Stay quiet, Ms. Blake. You don't know what you're playing with." And they hung up. I froze. For the first time, I was actually afraid. This wasn't just a corrupt exec trying to save face. This was bigger. Connected. I almost walked away. Almost. But then I remembered how it felt sitting across from Ryan. How small he tried to make me feel. How replaceable. So I made one final move. I emailed every single employee at Lydian, from the interns to the CEO. Just a subject line. They fired me to hide this. Attached, the documents, the audio, the proof. The next 24 hours were chaos. Internal. Chat systems exploded. Hashtags trended. And then, Lydian's stock tanked 17% in a single day. Ryan Keller resigned, and Trident Analytics' website? Gone. Just a blank white screen that said, "Under maintenance." I thought that would be the end of it. Expose the corruption, burn the house down, walk away. But Trident didn't collapse. It vanished. That was worse. After Ryan resigned and Lydian's board scrambled to save face, I expected subpoenas, lawsuits, maybe even a Netflix docuseries in the works. Instead, silence. Natalia said the network put her story on indefinite hold. Legal pressure, probably. She didn't say it, but I could hear it in her voice. Someone bigger than Lydian had gotten involved. Meanwhile, Caleb sent me a message with just one line. "You're not done, not even close." I was already watching my back, double-locking. Doors, varying my routes to the gym, sleeping with my phone under the pillow. But then something strange happened. I got a letter. Real mail. No return address. Inside, a single photo. It was me. From 5 years ago. Standing outside a military contracting expo in Arlington, Virginia. I'd been there doing a pitch on cloud encryption protocols, one of the few times Lydian ever let me speak solo at a major event. The message scrawled on the back. "You've been in the system longer than you think." My blood turned to ice. Had no memory of anyone taking that photo. But there I was, smiling, naive, completely unaware that I was already being watched. I called Caleb. He didn't answer. I drove to his apartment, door cracked open, place torn apart, laptop gone. Hard drives gone, Caleb gone. I called the police, filed a missing person report. They said he was likely traveling. His lease had been terminated the day before, paid in full, in cash. He didn't run. He was removed. That's when I realized this wasn't just about fraud. It was about control. I pulled out the flash drive I'd taped under my sink. The last copy. The only one left. Then I made a decision that would either save me or destroy me. I drove to Trident's listed headquarters in Baltimore, a beige concrete building with no signage. Looked like a tax office or a dental lab. I parked across the street and waited. Hours passed. No one went in. No one came out. At 2:17 p.m., a man in a navy suit walked up. Badge around his neck. Scanned it on a keypad hidden behind a loose brick panel. The door clicked. I moved fast, slipped in behind him before it shut. Inside, pure sterility, white floors, fluorescent lighting, no noise, no furniture, just a hallway with 3 doors, all unmarked. I tried the first, locked, second, locked, third, open. Stepped into what looked like a server room, except everything was sleek, custom-built, no labels. There was a screen on the wall displaying a series of scrolling names, hundreds of them, some with photos, some with timestamps. I saw mine. Blake, Morgan status, escalated, priority red. Then I saw Caleb's. Reassignment initiated. Reassigned to what? I heard a voice behind me. Turn around. Slowly. It was a woman. Late 40s. Blonde, sharp suit, no badge. She didn't look surprised to see me. She looked disappointed. You weren't supposed to get this far, she said. I held up the flash drive. Then you underestimated me. Again. She smirked. That's what Ryan said, right before we relocated him. My heart skipped. You relocated him? You're the one behind Trident? She didn't answer. Instead, she motioned to the screen. You're not special, Morgan. You're one of many. A test case. For what? Compliance, influence, response modeling. She walked closer, lowering her voice. People like you fight back. But we've studied that too. Resistance is just another variable. I stepped back. You turned my entire life into a simulation? She shrugged. Your life was already being shaped. We just nudged it. You were always going to be fired. Always going to push back. It's in your profile. I couldn't breathe. You set me up. I whispered. We gave you a nudge. The rest was all you. I gripped the flash drive tighter. She noticed. Go ahead. Leak it. Do you think anyone still cares? People forget. Stories vanish. Attention spans are commodities now. Then she said something I'll never forget. You didn't win. You just passed your stage. Suddenly, the lights cut. Emergency. Red glow filled the room. A robotic voice echoed. Containment breach. Evac protocol initiated. She cursed, stepped back. What did you do? I smiled. I uploaded the drive 30 minutes ago. Natalia has it. And this building? It's being traced right now. Her face twisted. Rage, shock, something else. Fear? She lunged at me. I dodged, kicked over a server unit, ran, sirens blaring. Now. Doors slamming shut. I sprinted down the hallway, back into the cold air, down the street. I didn't stop until I hit traffic, hands on my knees, gasping. That was 5 weeks ago. Since then, Trident's website has never come back online. Natalia's podcast aired a stripped-down version of the story. It went viral. Whistleblowers started coming out of nowhere. No one's found Caleb. Ryan Keller is presumed missing. And me? I've been offered 4 speaking gigs, 2 book deals, and a chance to work with the DOJ. I declined them all. Because I know this isn't over. Because somewhere, there's another name on that screen. Another compliance model being tested. And because late last night, taped to my front door, was a photo of me sleeping. The message on the back? Final phase.